Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into something big today. A conflict happening in the Middle East is sending some massive economic shockwaves all the way across Asia. So we're going to break down exactly how that ripple effect ends up hitting your wallet. Let's get right into it. So you're probably wondering, how can a fight thousands of miles away actually make your commute more expensive or raise the price of your groceries? Well, in this crazy, hyper-connected world we live in, the impact is way more direct than you'd think. All right, let's start with the biggest, most immediate shock to the system: energy prices. For Asia, this is ground zero for the crisis. It's really the first and biggest wave to crash on its shores. See, the heart of the problem is that Asia is incredibly, and I mean incredibly, reliant on the Middle East for its oil and gas. Now, with the Strait of Hormuz, a supercritical shipping lane, mostly closed down, supplies are getting choked off, and that's causing prices for oil, gas, and even coal to just skyrocket. And here's the real kicker: nearly every single nation in Asia imports more energy than it produces. And just look at the scale of that dependency. It is huge. Countries like Thailand, Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, they're all dangerously exposed because they import way, way more energy than they can produce themselves. It creates this massive energy trade deficit you see here. To put that kind of pressure into perspective, get a load of this number: $32 million. That's how much Thailand's oil fund was losing every single day just to keep a cap on diesel prices and stop a total panic at the pump. That is just an insane, unsustainable bleed of cash. But listen, this isn't just about fuel for your car. That energy crisis creates a ripple effect. And you know the very next place it hits? Your dinner plate. So here's the connection. Those same shipping disruptions are seriously messing with the global fertilizer trade. And it's pretty simple. Less fertilizer means farmers get smaller crop yields. And of course, smaller yields mean higher food prices for every single one of us. Now, this whole crisis hits different countries in different ways. You've got the Philippines, which is taking a brutal double hit. It has to import both its food and its energy, making it super vulnerable. But then you have a country like Thailand, which is a major food exporter. Even they're feeling the pain because their farmers are facing these crushing fertilizer costs just to grow the crops in the first place. And the ripples don't stop at fuel and food. There's an even more personal side to all this. We're talking about the direct financial lifelines for millions of families. And they're starting to dry up. A huge piece of this puzzle is remittances. You know, that's the money people working abroad send back home to their families. The scale here is just massive. India, for example, has about 9 million workers in the Middle East, and they send home something like $45 billion. But for a country like the Philippines, it's a matter of economic survival. These payments make up an incredible 1.4% of the country's entire GDP. As the conflict drags on, those jobs and that absolutely vital cash flow are under some serious threat. Thinking about planning a vacation anytime soon? Yeah, you might want to think again. Sky-high jet fuel prices and messed up flight paths are making travel way more expensive. And that's a direct blow to economies like Thailand, Vietnam, and Malaysia, which really depend on tourism money. It means fewer visitors and less income from millions of people. So what happens when you combine all of these pressures? You've got higher energy costs, more expensive food, less money coming in from remittances and tourism. What do you get? Well, you get the final and most dangerous wave of them all: stagflation. Simply put, stagflation is pretty much the worst of both worlds. You've got rising inflation, so everything is getting more expensive. At the same time, you have slowing or stagnant economic growth. It's a really toxic mix, and it's basically a policymaker's worst nightmare. And this is where it gets tricky, because it creates a trap. Normally, if an economy is slowing down, a central bank might cut interest rates to try and give it a boost. But they can't do that now, because that would just pour fuel on the fire of inflation, which is already being driven up by high import costs. They are completely stuck between a rock and a hard place. So let's wrap this all up with a quick scorecard. Looking at all these factors, the Philippines really stands out as the most vulnerable to all these shocks. Thailand and South Korea are facing a really high impact, mainly because of how much they rely on imported energy. And who's weathering the storm the best? Looks like Malaysia, whose big surplus in natural gas is helping to balance out all the other rising costs. Which really leaves us with one final question to think about. In a world that's this interconnected, is any economy, truly immune to the ripples of a conflict happening so far away? Let us know what you think in the comments. We'd love to hear how you're seeing these effects in your daily life. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next one. Thanks for watching.